Camera is rolling. Hi guys, I'm back for another video. Today is a very, very special day because today is the day that I will be sharing the start to my artist's journey. Today I'm going to give you kind of like a little rundown of week 1 of the 12-week course that I started with the book An Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I could literally make this video 60 minutes long, and I'm not going to, but I cannot express enough how much this book has changed my life. It is unbelievable. And I have a couple of different chapters and quotes and little moments that I'll talk to you guys about as the video goes on. But I need to preface it with saying there are moments in life where I believe synchronicity illuminates itself to your conscious. And suddenly you realize that seemingly unrelated events all line up perfectly, and suddenly you have something right in the palm of your hands. And I truly, truly believe from the bottom of my heart that this is the perfect time for me to read this book. Truly, truly unbelievable. I think the video is maybe 2 minutes in. I don't know. And I think I've said truly, truly now like 3 times. That's just so you know that what I'm saying is genuinely very true. This is all going to come from my heart because, wow, my heart is exploding right now and I have to share it. Okay, so basically what this book is it's a 12-week course at unlocking your inner child through a spiritual path to higher creativity. I actually first heard about this book when I was watching Dochi's music, well, I guess not music videos, Dochi's YouTube channel. Shout out Dochi. You are one of my biggest inspirations. So thanks for sharing that you read this book. Dochi posted a bunch of weekly progresses to her own artistic journey, and after viewing them and being extremely inspired, I felt like I should read this book. I told myself that the book would find me, and for Valentine's Day, my girlfriend Gabriella got me this book. So I started it. And so did she. And we're doing something that Julia Cameron calls a artist's clutter, I think? Or is it an artistic cluster? Let's see. I think cluster makes a lot more sense than a clutter. Let's see. The creative cluster. So me and Gabriella are doing a creative cluster right now, which means that we're both taking this course and going along our own individual journeys. And once a week we'll have check-ins. So tomorrow we're going to have a little check-in and talk about where we are with our tasks, which I will get into, with our morning pages, with our artist date. Basically, this book gives you a structured guideline. It gives you opportunity to unearth your inner child and your creative. If I haven't expressed it before on this channel, I truly, truly believe that everyone is an auteur. I believe that every single person is a creative spirit because we are vessels for the Creator. We all have the capacity to create, to be creative, and to let that creative spirit flow through us and create something beautiful. We are born with it, and then we are taught to put ourselves into specific boxes, or, oh, I can't do that sort of thing. I'm a this type of person, or, oh, I just do this and I don't do that. I truly believe that we are all auteurs. And with this book, I have found the inner fire, the passion, the confidence that I had and still have, I realized, still have, that makes me an artist. It's a good segue into the first thing that I really, really, really want to share with you guys, which is right here in just the introduction. Julia Cameron says, "By the time I was 30 and abruptly sober, I had an office on the Paramount lot and had made a whole career out of that kind of creativity. Creative in spasms. Creative as an act of will and ego. Creative on behalf of others. Creative, yes, but in spurts, like blood from a severed carotid artery. A decade of writing, and all I knew how to do was make these headlong dashes and hurl myself against all odds at the wall of whatever I was writing. If creativity was spiritual in any sense, it was only in its resemblance to a crucifixion. I fell upon the thorns of prose. I bled." Like, that is exactly who I am. My creative spirit will enliven, and I'll just stay up all night writing. Or this is this idea for, I want to change the industry in this way, and I go all in on this, and I just want to dive in or okay, my art is only prideful if I sever myself and rip my heart out and smear it on the page. And that's what it's not only what I did, it's what I preached. I had so much, I took so much pride in hurting myself for my art. And I just realized that is completely unsustainable. I mean, truly, if I want a profession in art, what is it going to be? Oh, dad's out in the garage, losing himself. He'll pick his, our son up from soccer practice after he finishes. Like but not even to take it to the future right now. That's the thing. In the present moment, right now, it is completely unsustainable for me. Because what happens is, okay, on a Sunday, boom, so creative and everything's on the page, and and I throw all of myself into it and in these unhealthy practices, and then I wake up Monday morning after no sleep, after hurting my body, and I'm just, okay, but it's good. I got those pages out. Okay, but it's good. I worked on that. Okay, but then I don't do anything Monday. And then Tuesday rolls around. Okay, well, it's second week on the job. Okay, I got a plan for Wednesday, and then Wednesday comes, and maybe I make a little list of things I want to do this weekend, and all of a sudden it's Thursday, and I haven't done anything creative. I haven't done anything. But then the weekend rolls around, and it's time to rip this open again. Are you understanding what I'm talking to you about? It's an unsustainable practice. And this book completely calls it out for exactly what it is. I am more inspired reading this book than I ever have been in my entire life. This is probably the best book I have ever read. And I have done a preface and introduction in chapter 1. Is that not insane? Is that like... That's insane. Like, let's just call it for what it is. That's insane. Okay, I'm gonna do a little segue to now page 2 of the book. This is Spiritual Electricity, the Basic Principles. On page 2, Julia Cameron says, "It is my experience, both as an artist and as a teacher, that when we move out on faith into the act of creation, the universe is able to advance. It is like opening the gate at the top of a field irrigation system. Once we remove the blocks, the flow moves in." Again, I do not ask you to believe this. In order for this creative emergence to happen, you don't have to believe in God. I simply ask you to observe and note this process as it unfolds. In effect, you will be midwifing and witnessing your own creative progression. Creativity is an experience. To my eye, a spiritual experience. It does not matter which way you think of it, creativity leading to spirituality or spirituality leading to creativity. In fact, I do not make a distinction between the two. In the face of such experience, the whole question of belief is rendered obsolete. As Carl Jung answered the question of belief late in his life, "I don't believe, I know." That is like an undying hearth inside of my soul. This idea that we as human beings are not being selfish with our creativity. We are not being egotistical with our creativity. We are not cutting people off. We are not losing ourselves. We are not falling. But instead, we are putting something out. We are creating something that was not there before, and therefore it is an act of creation of God. It is a spiritual experience to create. We are vessels for creation. That is an undying hearth. And what I mean by that is we are going to, as human beings, have good days and bad days and inspired days and low days, but that is something that will always burn. Those passages will always burn in my heart, and I can always go back to them and warm myself on that fire if the outside gets too cold and chilly. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I urge you to just go back in the video right now and just re-listen to those words. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The next thing is a bit of beautiful synergy for you. This is on page 20 in chapter 1. Filling the well, stocking the pond. Art is an image-using system. In order to create, we draw from our inner well. This inner well, in artistic reservoir, is ideally like a well-stocked trout pond. We've got big fish, little fish, fat fish, skinny fish, an abundance of artistic fish to fry. As artists, we must realize that we have to maintain this artistic ecosystem. If we don't give some attention to upkeep, our well is apt to become depleted, stagnant, or blocked. So hopefully you just caught some of the synergy there. This is a passage that she puts right after explaining something called the artist's date, which comes right after morning pages. These are the two cornerstones, the two pillars of this whole process. The morning pages are every single day when you wake up, you put down 3 pages worth of writing on the page. Every day, you have to. It doesn't matter if you have nothing to write, and you're just right, I have nothing to write, this is really weird, and I feel like I have nothing going on in my head, so this is really awkward. It doesn't matter. You fill up 3 pages every single day of this 12-week course. And through that, I have been able to, as she mentions in this book, identify something called your sensor. She notes that we have 2 sides of our brain, the logic brain and the artistic brain. And the logic brain is vital to our survival. It is telling us when we see a forest, okay, the forest is orange and yellow and red because it is fall. And it is fall, so that means that it is a little bit cold outside. So I shouldn't venture too far inside the forest right now because, I'm going to need to eat in like 4 or 5 hours, and I'm definitely going to need to drink water in that time. The artistic brain is like, wow, oh, the forest, look at, it's like a king's blanket that like he could just rest down from the sky and go on this quilt of colors. Oh, it's a child, right? It's a literal child. And that's beautiful. That's our inner child. That's what plays. That's what creates, right? And it's vital to protect that inner child, because that inner child is your function. It's how you create. It's what you create with. That act of play and celebration, that's how you create. And the logic brain, yes, it's needed sometimes for survival, but it has no business in a imaginative, inspirational, creative process. And through these morning pages, I've been able to identify this logic brain, this sensor, this, I'm starting to play, no, well, we need to think about, I'm just able to play. And that's hopefully what I'm going to do tomorrow, which is the second part of it, the artist date. And that's 1 day a week for maybe a couple hours. You just take yourself out on an artist date and you do something. You could go to the store and get a bunch of fun little stickers and decorate something and put it up in your room. You could go to a garden. You could go to a church. You could go to the weird rundown movie theater that you always pass on the way home from work and always wonder, who are the people inside of there? And you do something for yourself. And you don't take a friend, you don't take a lover, you don't take a parent or a sibling, you take yourself and your inner child. And together you just go experience something for you. I mean, genuinely think about this right now. Feel free to pause the video and genuinely think, when is the last time that you took yourself out on a date? Have you ever took yourself out on a date? And that doesn't count as just like, oh, well, the people left the party early, so I walked. No. An intentional period of time where you took yourself out and did something for you. Have you ever done that before? I don't know if I have. And how wonderful is that I'm now enlightened to the fact that we always have that opportunity. That is beautiful. We always have that opportunity to go and do that. It's incredible. So in chapter 1, because actually I misspoke before, that was all the introduction, everything that I was telling you before. That was all the introduction. Like, isn't that wondrous? The first week is recovering a sense of safety, and it talks about shadow artists. And I think this is the most important part of the video. And I've always explained on this channel that These videos are for me to hold myself accountable. And if I'm truly being honest with myself, I am a shadow artist. And, I have had a certain perspective on what that means. I like to write at the Carl Jung Institute of Los Angeles, which is only a couple blocks from my house. And I fell in love with exploring a shadow and digging deep into myself and extracting that shadow. And I realized that I've been digging in there so long, I'm stuck in the cave. I'm so deep and comfortable in my shadow that I decided to just make a home there and just live in the shadow, in this cave, looking out, and I can see the light at the end of it. But I'm just comfortable in the shadow. And she describes shadow artists as this: too intimidated to become artists themselves, very often too low in self-worth to even recognize that they have an artistic dream, these people become shadow artists instead. Artists themselves, but ignorant of their true identity. Shadow artists are to be found shadowing declared artists, unable to recognize that they themselves may possess the creativity they so admire. They often date or marry people who actively pursue the art career they themselves secretly long for. I needed to express that in this video, as hard as that is for me to say. And currently it is February 22nd, 2025, and it is a blessing to be in this house right now. I moved out to Los Angeles for college, not knowing anyone, not having family or friends out here. And, it's been a little over 4 years and I'm still here. I'm still here and I'm doing the thing and I'm pursuing entertainment. And I've been blessed to work at Blumhouse Productions, who, saw All Alone Together, and I was lucky enough to get an assistant position, and I'm learning so much, but I just have to say I am a shadow. I have to communicate that. I need to say those words for me to realize, and reinvigorate myself and pack my things and say, wow, okay, I take my little knapsack of things that I've learned, that's great, and thank the shadow and bless the shadow and start walking right towards the light and head straight towards that light. And I don't know if I'm going to reach it tomorrow or the next week or the next month, but I know that I am headed in that direction. I'm making a pledge to myself. I signed a contract with myself. I made a promise to myself. I am leaving behind the days of shadow. And that is terrifying. That's not scary or anxiety. That is horrifying. Because what is outside of the cave? This is my home. I set it up. It looks pretty nice in here. What the heck is out there? I have no idea. But do you want to know what I do know? That my path leads towards the light, and I'm going to follow it. I am leaving behind my shadow, and I am heading towards the light. I think this is now gonna become a series, so stay tuned for artist artist journey week number 2 next week. I cannot truly express how excited I am. I hope you hear it in my voice. What a wonderful blessing it is to be alive and have the opportunity to walk towards that light and hopefully inspire people along the way. Okay, bye. I love you.